about you? Hey, that sounds nice. Nice, nice. Ah, that's sick. I'm really glad to hear that you're enjoying that. Yes, most definitely. No, honestly, that's always fun. Hey, again, really glad that you're having those things go on. Yeah. I love catching up with you. It's always great. Yeah. Speaking of catching up, though, I was thinking about potentially catching up on Alice in Wonderland here. Yeah. No, I know it's been a second since we've read, but we're actually really close to the end. I think there's only 2 more chapters, and we're going to be reading one of those today if you're down. Cool, cool. Awesome. Well, I hope that you're cozy. If not, I think it's time for you to get cozy. Cool. Yes, no, I've personally grabbed a cozy little sweater here, and I'm all cuddled up with my pillow. Yeah. Well, I guess let's hop into it if you're ready. Cool. Yeah, no hot tea today, but I've definitely been thinking about it. It's a little early for me. Well, I guess early is when you would drink tea, but I've been drinking cold tea today. Iced yerba mate, so I'm still on that high caffeine part of my day. Well, I don't know about you, but I am ready to begin. So, I believe that we are on chapter 11 here. I know that as a quick little recap, right? That Alice had made it into the beautiful garden that she always wanted to get into since she saw it in the beginning of the book. And she met the Queen of Hearts, and of course, she's a bit of a tyrant who's constantly commanding people to get their heads chopped off. So, then she left her with a griffin and what is it called again? A mock turtle. And he just talked about a story, and there was some singing about soup. That's what I remember last. Alright, so chapter 11 of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Who stole the tarts? Alright. Let us begin. Alright. The King and Queen of Hearts were seated on their throne when they arrived, with a great crowd assembled about them. All sorts of little birds and beasts, as well as a whole pack of cards, of parchment in the other. In the very middle of the court was a table with a large dish of tarts upon it. They looked so good that it made Alice quite hungry to look at them. I wish they'd get the trial done, she thought, and hand around the refreshments. But there seemed to be no chance of this, so she began looking about her to pass away the time. Alice had never been in a court of justice before, but she had read about them in books, and she was quite pleased to find that she knew the name of nearly everything there. That's the judge, she said to herself, because of his great wig. The judge, by the way, was the king, and as he wore his crown over the wig, look at the frontispiece if you want to see how he did it. What? I don't know what a frontispiece is. He did not look at all comfortable, and it was certainly not becoming. Okay, see, now I just need to know, is there a picture somewhere around here? Was it like in the beginning of the book or something? Oh, yes, yes. I found it at the very beginning of the book, which I guess is the frontispiece, right? Alright. Let me look at this for a second. Alright. I do not want to lose my place, so I must handle this with care, but do you see that? There's the king and the queen and the whole court of animals too. I have to readjust myself. Alright, now that we know exactly how that looked. And that's the jury box, thought Alice. And those 12 creatures, she was obliged to say creatures, you see, because some of them were animals and some were birds. I suppose they are the jurors. She said the last 2 words 3 times over to herself, being rather proud of it, for she thought, and rightly too, that very few little girls her age knew the meaning of it at all. However, jurymen would have done just as well. The 12 jurors were all writing very busily on their slates. What are they all doing? Whispered Alice to the griffin. They can't have anything to put down yet before the trial's begun. They're putting down their names, the griffin whispered in a reply, for fear they should forget them before the end of the trial. Stupid things. Okay. Alice began in a loud, indignant voice, but she stopped hastily, for the white rabbit cried out, use, as it left no mark on the slate. "Herald, read the accusation," said the king. On this, the white rabbit blew 3 blasts on the trumpet, and then unrolled the parchment scroll, and read as follows. "The Queen of Hearts, she made some tarts, all on a summer day. The Knave of Hearts, he stole those tarts, and took them quite away. Consider your verdict," the king said to the jury. Not yet, the rabbit hastily interrupted. "There's a great deal to come before that." "Call the first witness," said the king. And the white rabbit blew 3 blasts of the trumpet, and called out, "First witness." The first witness was the Hatter. He came with a teacup in one hand and a piece of bread and butter in the other. "I beg pardon, your majesty," he began, "for bringing these in, but I hadn't quite finished my tea when I was sent for." "You ought to have finished," said the king. "When did you begin?" The Hatter looked at the March Hare, who had followed him from the court, arm in arm with the Dormouse. "14th of March, I think it was," he said. "15th, said the March Hare. 16th, said the Dormouse. "Write that down," the king said to the jury, and the jury eagerly wrote down all 3 dates on their slates, and then added them up and reduced the answer to shillings and pence. "Take off your hat," said the king to the Hatter. "It isn't mine," said the Hatter. "Stolen," the king exclaimed, turning to the jury, who instantly made a memorandum of the fact. "I keep them to sell," the Hatter added in an explanation. "I have none of my own. I'm a Hatter." Here the queen put on her spectacles and began staring hard at the Hatter, who turned pale and fidgeted. "Give your evidence," said the king, "and don't be nervous, or I'll have you executed on the spot." This did not seem at all to encourage the witness. He kept shifting from one foot to the other, looking uneasily at the queen, and in his confusion he bit a large piece out of his teacup, and instead of the bread and butter. Just at this moment, Alice felt a very curious sensation, which puzzled her a good deal until she made out what it was. She was beginning to grow larger again, and she thought at first she would get up and level the court, but on second thoughts she decided to leave the court, not level the court. But on second thought, she decided to remain where she was as long as there was room for her. "I wish you wouldn't squeeze so," said the Dormouse, who was sitting next to her. "I can hardly breathe." "I can't help it," said Alice very meekly. "I'm growing." "You have no right to grow here," said the Dormouse. "Don't talk nonsense," said Alice more boldly. "You know you're growing too." "Yes, but I grow at a reasonable pace," said the Dormouse. "Not in this ridiculous fashion." He got up very sulkily and crossed over to the other side of the court. At this time, the queen had never left off at the Hatter, and just as the Dormouse crossed the court, the singers and crossed the court, she said to one of the officers of the court, "Bring me the list of singers at the last concert," on which the wretched Hatter trembled so that he took off both of his shoes. Oh, no. Okay. Excuse my mess up, but he shook so much that he shook off both of his shoes. course, twinkling begins with a T, said the king sharply. Do you take me for a dunce? Go on. I'm a poor man, the hatter went on, and most things twinkled after that. Only, the March Hare said. I didn't, the March Hare interrupted in a great hurry. You did, said the hatter. I deny it, said the March Hare. He denies it, said the king. Leave out that part. Well, at any rate, the Dormouse said. The hatter went on, looking anxiously around to see if he would deny it too. But the Dormouse denied nothing, being fast asleep. After that, continued the hatter, I cut some more bread and butter. But what did the Dormouse say? One of the jury asked. That I can't remember, said the hatter. You must remember, remarked the king, or I'll have you executed. The miserable hatter dropped his tea and bread and butter and went down on one knee. I'm a poor man, your majesty, he began. You're a very poor speaker, said the king. Here, one of the guinea pigs cheered and was immediately suppressed by the officers of the court. As that is a rather hard word, I will just explain to you how it was done. They had a large canvas bag, which tied up at the mouth with strings. Into it, they slipped the guinea pig head first, and then sat upon it. Oh my god. That is harsher than the word suppressed, in my opinion. Okay. I'm glad I've seen that done, thought Alice. I've so often read in the newspapers at the end of trials. There was an attempt at applause, which was immediately suppressed by the officers of the court, and I never understood what that meant till now. If that's all you know about it, you may stand down, continued the king. I can't go no lower, said the hatter. I'm on the floor as it is. Then you may sit down, the king replied. Here, the other guinea pig cheered and was suppressed. Come, that finishes the guinea pigs, thought Alice. Now we should get on better. I'd rather finish my tea, said the hatter, with an anxious look at the queen, who was reading the list of singers. You may go, said the king, and the hatter hurriedly left the court without even waiting to put his shoes on. And just take his head off outside, the queen added to one of the officers. But the hatter was out of sight before the officer could get to the door. Here's a little picture of the hatter running. He's very cute. He's kind of chibi-esque, honestly, with his little feet and his big head. Also, very cool pants. Call the next witness, said the king. The next witness was the Duchess's cook. She carried the pepper box in her hand, and Alice guessed who it was even before she got into the court by the way people near the door began sneezing all at once. Give your evidence, said the king. Shan't, said the cook. The king looked anxiously at the white rabbit, who said in a low voice, Your Majesty must cross-examine this witness. Well, if I must, the king said, with a melancholy air, and, after folding his arms and frowning at the cook till his eyes were nearly out of sight, he said in a deep voice, What are tarts made of? Pepper mostly, said the cook. Treacle, said a sleepy voice behind her. Collar that dormouse, the queen shrieked out. Behead that dormouse. Turn that dormouse out of the court. undertone to the queen. Really, my dear, you must cross-examine the next witness. It quite makes my forehead ache. Alice watched the White Rabbit as he fumbled over the list, feeling very curious to see what the next witness would be like. For they haven't got much evidence yet, she said to herself. Imagine her surprise when the White Rabbit read out at the top of his shrill little voice the name Alice. Okay, so that's the end of the chapter. What a turn of events. Alice is a third witness. Well, that was an interesting, surreal little read, wasn't it? I'm excited for the 12th chapter to see how it all rounds out, right? Did you enjoy that? Cool, cool. Yeah, no, I'm a fan, for sure. I haven't read this book in so long. It's really interesting to see how it, for one, differs from the Disney movie that I know very extensively from childhood, but just to see how it all kind of ties together, right? Very surreal, very dreamlike. I'm a fan. Yeah. Interesting thought about it. Very much so. Well, I am excited to finish it. And I was thinking maybe we would read the second book afterwards, potentially. Why not, you know? It's a series after all. Yeah, no. You down to read it again soon? Yeah. Cool. I'm excited. I really am interested to see how this turns out. So, I mean, I kind of feel like I know the ending, but we'll see. Alright. Well, thank you so much for joining me again. Always a pleasure hanging, reading, whatever we're doing. Yeah, you too.